I realized my neighbor was a psychopath when the police pulled his name. I lived in a quiet suburb in Kansas in the early. From a floppy disk he asked them to trust. 2,000 seconds, tree-lined streets, kids riding bikes, lawns cut every Saturday. The kind of place where nothing ever happens. My neighbor's name was Dennis. That was his real name. Dennis lived 2 houses down from me. He was polite, always waved, always followed the rules of the neighborhood association. He went to church every Sunday and worked for the city. If you asked anyone about him, they would say the same thing. Nice guy. Very normal. I thought so too. Dennis was the kind of man who liked control. His trash cans were always placed perfectly. His lawn was measured. If a car was parked wrong on the street, he noticed. If someone broke a rule, he reported it. We joked about it. We called him the enforcer. Dennis laughed when we said that, but his eyes didn't. Sometimes he would talk to me over the fence. He liked to talk about order, about how people were careless, about how rules existed for a reason. Once he said, most people don't realize how easy it is to hurt someone. I laughed, thinking it was a weird comment. He smiled and said, I'm just talking in general. That was the first time I felt uneasy. Years passed. Life moved on. Then one day, the news exploded. Police announced they were close to catching a serial killer who had been active for decades, a man known as BTK. Bind, torture, kill. The crimes had started in the 1970s. Families destroyed, children killed. The killer vanished for years, then returned with letters to the media. Everyone was scared, but no one thought he lived on our street. One night, Dennis knocked on my door. He looked excited. He asked if I had been following the news. I said yes. He leaned closer and said, the police are making mistakes. I asked what he meant. He said, they trust technology too much, and they trust people when they shouldn't. Then he smiled. I told myself he was just being strange. A few weeks later, the police announced something shocking. The killer had contacted them again. He asked a question. He wanted to know if a floppy disk could be traced. The police told him no. They lied. Dennis told me about this before it was public. He said, if someone trusted the police, that would be their mistake. I remember my stomach dropping. Then it happened. Police cars flooded our neighborhood. They surrounded Dennis's house. He walked out calmly, hands behind his back. No fight, no fear. I stood on my porch and watched. I couldn't move. Later, the truth came out. Dennis Rader was BTK. The same man who waved at us every morning. The same man who complained about trash cans. The same man who talked about rules and order. He had been killing for decades, while raising kids, while going to church, while working for the city. The police said he felt proud of how long he got away with it. He showed no real emotion for the victims. He talked about his crimes like tasks, like projects. I still live in that house. Sometimes I see the empty home where Dennis used to live. What scares me isn't that a monster lived near me. It's that he didn't look like one. He looked like a man who cared about rules. And if the police hadn't lied about that floppy disk, I might still be waving at him today, never knowing who was watching from behind that calm smile. Subscribe, like and comment for more video like this.